if the folks have not been back there, they put in a roadway that runs from Fisher Avenue, this is Love's area out here, that goes all the way through to Bordnersville Road. Mr. Camp he or his minions have constructed, and I'll let him explain that to you, this property and this property. This property is 1 million square feet, which is under construction at the present time. This is Sid Tool. There is a development which is pretty well along, in which LERTA has been granted on this property right here, and that is on your schedule. That is, I think, about 400,000 square feet. Mr. Camp is now requesting LERTA on the property, which in fact has been outlined in red here. I'll let him explain what he intends to place on there. The LERTA application thus far has been approved by Union Township. I was at North Lebanon School District last night, and they said that they would approve it very simply as soon as the county had acted on it. North Lebanon School District always waits for the county to act. That's their modus operandi. This is the property in question. This is Route 72, and that's a hog barn. Okay.
And with that?
What? And with that? With that, Mr. Camp, do you want to tell them what you intend to do here?
Do you have that site plan? We have, we've constructed, we were in here before for LERTA for this project here. Okay, these buildings, this building is up and full and employing people. This building is full right now and employing people, but they are going to move out of this building. It's a Mattel, and they're moving into this building here, the 1 million square foot. It's almost done. You've got about 30 to 60 days before they move from here to here, and then this building goes back on the market. Okay, but that's all been with LERTA. There is a building here up, nothing to do with me. That 400,000 square feet is up, and I'm told they're working with 2 tenants on the building now, and that has LERTA. The reason we have, you're at Interstate 78 and 81. We're at the crossroads here. This is Lebanon County, as you know, and there's only so much land and there's only so many tenants in Lebanon County that we can capture out there. I will tell you that this deal, I've talked to the broker about this deal several times. This deal landed here because of the LERTA. When you're down in Carlisle and or at another spot that doesn't have LERTA and you do, it's a big advantage. You know, I really believe that, you know, as competition gets more and more sites are coming up along the 78 corridor to Allentown and the Berks County area. There's several projects coming up there. There's more coming up down in Carlisle right now. To get LERTA here and get the jobs here is something that I think would be great for me, great for the county, great for the township and the school district. These jobs aren't $8 an hour jobs anymore. Their starting salary is $16.50 a square foot for a forklift driver.
Not a square foot.
I'm sorry, an hour. I said that twice today already. I apologize. So they're real jobs. So we're humbly asking you to, you know, continue your efforts with LERTA. There's not that much more ground out here in Lebanon County, and you know, that would take these big warehouses. And I think we can, you know, we're getting ready to go with a couple more permits to put this in line. This is a 740,000 square foot warehouse and a 250,000 square foot warehouse. And those are the numbers that you have in front.
I'm sure that Mr. Camp can answer them because he's put most of the site developments in. But there is water and sewer out there, which has been installed. There's sufficient water pressure. Union Township has put a sewer facility in which still has some capacity. And those are all issues that have been worked out at this point in time.
I think Commissioner Ames had a question.
Yes, sir.
You made several references to jobs, and you most recently spoke about a wage rate of $16.50.
Yes.
How many jobs in the ones that are up and running?
It's hard for me to answer that question because they're not done yet hiring, and I don't know what they're gonna, when they get to the million, I don't know how many jobs that's gonna be.
On yours, do you know the one which is presently occupied, how many are there? And if not, can you get that information for them?
We can get the information for you. They were projecting up to 800 jobs in that park, the Phase 1 park. But I don't know how many now because they're in the 500,000 square foot going to the million, and the other one's still hiring. So I don't know how many, Mr. Ames, Commissioner Ames, that they are ending up with.
We'll provide that for you.
I
then.
can find out.
And the buildings that you're proposing under your request that you're bringing to us today,
Yes, sir.
you don't have a tenant?
I do not have a tenant at this point in time.
So
Those will be
we're-
built in
we're-
spec.
We're buying a pig in a poke then, as we used to say in Pennsylvania Dutch country.
Yeah.
We have no idea what it's going to be or how many people it will employ or what the salaries will be. And that's my problem with these rental units, because folks that are building them, the landlord in essence is coming to us requesting a LERTA, and we have no information about who's going to be doing what in those buildings and what kind of jobs.
It's a catch-22. I don't disagree with you. I wish that we had the tenant before we ever built the building, instead of spending millions and millions and millions of dollars up front without a tenant, which is really dangerous. I don't like doing it. I'd rather have the tenant first. So I completely understand what you're saying, sir.
Who's going in the million square?
The million square foot is Mattel, the toys, and there's a third-party logistics company, and I forget exactly what they're distributing out of the 400,000. Okay, the issue is, if you don't have the LERTA, you can't attract the tenants. It's the catch-22, Commissioner. If I have the LERTA first, I'm more apt to get those tenants. If I don't have the LERTA first, and I could give you all the information about who's coming, they may go somewhere else.
You mentioned Carlisle, and there's a beautiful warehouse that was built up there recently, and we had some folks in to talk to us about that, and you're saying that they are not giving a LERTA?
Some of the properties don't have LERTA down there. Yeah. The particular property that Ames was looking at, I was told by the broker from Jones Lang LaSalle, that the property that fit the bill for them in the Carlisle area did not have LERTA, that this site did, and that's what won the day. Paul Tarosian was his name, and that's, where that information came from.
Well, I would request up-to-date, accurate information on number of employees and their wages in the existing buildings, and extrapolate that then out to, that new facility that they're moving into, and some idea of projections for the buildings that you're requesting LERTAs for now.
Yeah, as far as the jobs go, if you go on Interstate 78 right now, you'll see a sign that says starting salary at those numbers on Interstate 78 near the PetSmart Berks County warehouse.
County.
It's on the interstate, okay? So that's
the market.
That's the market. It's the same market as here. It's very hard to project, and I'm trying very hard. We have to do that for, electric and sewer and parking spaces, and we do the best we can based on tenants that are in the market, and that's where, what we do. But there's a lot of jobs out here been created, and a lot more with this new project that we will create, with your help.
We will get that information for you, Mr.
Thank you.
Just two questions. When you're getting the information for Commissioner Ames, I'm really curious to know how many of the employees, is it 50% are from Lebanon County, 75%? if you could give us just
Okay.
a percentage, I don't need to know exact, but I thought that would be very interesting and very helpful. And then the other question is, Dan, at what point, because I understand there's electricity, sewer net on the other side of the road, but once this site that is being developed now is ready for a building, I guess the parking, I don't know if the parking lot goes in before the building or which goes first, but the water, sewer, electricity, and parking lots, that's all part of the base that we get the taxes
Correct.
on full.
We adjust the land value for the site and everything.
And at what point does that happen?
As soon as they get started, we adjust it. And then, once they get the occupancy, then we put the value on the building, and then the whole LERTA starts itself, so.
Okay.
And we put the parking lots and the building up all pretty much at the same time. Yes.
Okay, so it's too early to establish the value of that property at this point, once it's got all the utilities and parking lots on it. Okay.
Dan, the value of that property is, with water and sewer and parking lot, is pretty well established per acre by the ones that are in existence now.
Correct, it would be very similar to the ones across the street.
Okay.
And as Joellen requested, the resolution which has been presented does include that there will be no requests for reduction of value during the LERTA process.
Yes, and I have that, and I do appreciate that in writing, so I have it for my file. And, but I just was wondering what number, when we would arrive at the numbers, because I know, to be fair to you, you need to know what that is, but if he's saying it'll be similar, then I guess you know what to expect.
Yes.
Okay.
I support LERTA, and you know, your investment speaks for itself in Lebanon County. You'll be motivated to, you know, get somebody good in there to occupy it. And I guess my big question is, where are you going to get all the employees? You have Bell and Evans having 1,000 employees down there. You have your project. There's a lot of competition for labor.
Correct. There is a lot, and we've done labor studies. We believe there's labor out here, absolutely. You know, you've got Lebanon City, you've got, you know, some from Schuylkill County coming down, you've got some from Berks County. But as we move forward, there's going to be more projects coming online down the line in the Berks County corridor, on the way to Allentown. And I think, you know, it's going to be better if our buildings are up and occupied and you know, before that happens. What you're seeing right now in the Carlisle area is a big slowdown because there's a lack of labor now.
I thought I did hear some numbers when I walked in. When you were talking about the assessment of the ones that are already built, can you give me kind of somewhat of a comparison? I know that we have to establish that one later.
I think that they're set forth here.
Okay.
I gave that to the commissioners.
Thank you.
If after you read that you have some questions, I'll be happy to further clarify it.
Yeah. And remind me again, is this the kind of the 10-year, you started 100%?
Yes,
10%
that's
all the
correct.
way
Right.
down? Right, okay. All right. And what company?
Vision Group Ventures.
Vision Group Ventures, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I do know that there's a lot of developers out there, and Jeff is one of the good ones. He really tries to take care of environmental things as he goes. That's been my experience in following your work, so I do appreciate that. If we're going to have a developer, one who thinks about us is very important in our water supply, and thank you for doing that. So,
You're welcome, thank you.
yeah.
Can I add something, please? From Union Township's perspective, I've been dealing with Jeff Camp about 6 years, and I don't, and this again, from my perspective, I don't think you're gonna find a better developer to actually work with to make sure everything gets done and to go beyond the extra yards to make sure it gets taken care of. He's concerned about all the residents that live in the area. He talks to all the residents. He makes any improvements they ask for. So I think he puts forth the extra initiative that is required, what we need for somebody that's gonna try and develop and get extra jobs in our communities, local communities.
Thank you, guys. Anything else?
Sounds good.
Yes?
There are a few residential properties that are out along Warnersville Road.
That we're buying
Have
for
you
the new.
purchased them already?
No, we have not, we have them under agreement.
Okay.
Nothing's been transferred yet.
Okay. Anything else, closing
No, sir.
remarks?
We'll get back to you with the additional information as promptly as we can. And we appreciate your hearing us and acting on this as reasonably promptly as we can get the information back to you.
Assuming all goes as planned, what's your timeline here?
We hope to begin construction this summer,
And how long do you think it would take to?
about a year.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much, and